I actually forgot I said that.
It was so good though.
I don't keep track of things that I say in my brain. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Whatever.
Oh, it's so good.
Yay.
God. Okay, it's a best of 5 TVP all between two fairly aggressive players, let's say. In the top right, as the red Terran for Jin Air, he is Maru.
And in the bottom left, also from Janair, it's your boy SOS. Now, the elephant in the room here is that the last time these two played, SOS embarrassed Maru. He made him look terrible in their series. And we know if that's not the case. It's just that Sue dominated him so hard in that series that it made him look terrible. In this game, Maru is building his barracks at home. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a TVP. The barracks is at home for Maru. So we are not going to be seeing a... I mean, this could still be a SOS embodiment of Maru here. But it is starting off a little bit more regular.
I feel like after Maru, got to experience, the SOS experience at BlizzCon, and I'm sure there's been ladder games as well where maybe it's consistently happened in practice games because they're teammates that it's been consistent that SOS has the smarts to take care of proxies. Maru is probably not going to be. I mean, if it's proxies, I don't think it's going to be the same proxy, but that's really hard to say because it's not like there was 1 or 2 builds that people were proxying or Maru was doing, and that's why SOS was able to counter him so hard. Now, if that were the case, he would have been countered a long time ago. He has like a dozen different proxy builds. Unless he came up with a dozen more, I think SOS is probably going to be on top of them.
I think the weirdest proxy I remember from BlizzCon was actually from TY, not from Maru, where he like proxied a ghost to ghost into like Zests or Mate. I think it was Zest or... Yeah, I mean, I was so upset. I'm like, come on, man, you're so good at this matchup. Please don't do this to me. Man, I am an unabashed TY fanboy for all you out there in the chat. You know, people are like, Maynard's Terran bias. I'm like, yeah. But when I cast games, generally I try to make, when stuff's going well for the other race, I will say it's going well. I'm not going to sit there going, oh, this is bullshit. I can't believe he's winning. No, it's, I'm not that much of an unprofessional. Or whatever word I want to use.
Kind of an unprofessional.
An unprofessional, which isn't even a word. it isn't even a word. We've got a fast third CC here from Maru.
Yeah. He brought this out versus a TVT, which was a little surprising. And it's not like the most absurd thing I can think of, but it is. I mean, for me, it's absurd because I can't live without a factory in TVT. But for him, it makes a lot of sense. But then to bring it in a TVP as well, when you consider that the reason, like by this point, even without the Koreans literally having their words translated, at this point, it's basically fact that the Terrans are proxying because they really think that they just won't have it in them to go into the late game. They won't have the SEV count versus the probe count to let them chrono. They have to at least try and do a tank push to even scare the Protoss a little bit, so on and so forth. So that's why proxy was so relevant. So, I mean, you kind of almost flip the script by going for a third TC this fast and hope that it's not scouted where, SOS is like, well, he's going to do something aggressive, right? And then he actually falls behind because who expects a third CC? But does it really work out that way 100% of the time? No. Maru is just accepting going into a later game TVP, and that might look poor. We'll see.
I remember talking to Neve at this is a nice little fake out here from there. SOS just seems to be the fake Oracle guy. It's a real Oracle, I swear. It's not getting debated here. But oh, nice, getting a probe kill there with that Reaper. It does die, but he does see the Twilight Council, and that is an important scout. It also sees that it was being chrono boosted. So, I mean, as much as we say that SOS read Maru like a book, Maru also, on the other side of things, can read SOS quite well as well. He knows that SOS loves Blink Stalkers in this matchup. He's going for 3-gate Blink with Robo again, like he did against Innovation. So Maru is going to be able to handle this, or at least on paper, looks like he's going to be able to handle it. He's getting bunker, he's getting prepared for it. Doesn't have any siege tanks, though, which is a big difference.
Right. I mean, I guess so focused on the 2 base attacks or that fake third that Innovation did, right? The aggressive attacks style from the Terran that we didn't even mention that tanks are also useful to make sure you don't die to a Protoss, because that is the other, I guess, complaint about the matchup right now is like, okay, maybe I could take you on in a micro battle of late game units, but you don't let me because you have so many options. I know that's something that here Marine for instance, is talked about, the variety. So tanks kind of lead you to that overall good defensive unit. Nope, Maru feels like he doesn't need him. And he is right in this case, but it is a best of 5, and really, I think you're going to see a lot of like deep reads into each other as the game goes on, where it's like, you did that? Well, I'm going to do this. Then, 2-base charge off him or something like that, which he is getting charged right now. He's also going for, I think that's the fastest robotics play we've seen from him in TVP today.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. I actually don't even remember seeing robotics play at all in any of the TVPs we've seen today.
Yeah.
It's been more about Storm Tech and that sort of thing. But I'm assuming this is just straight into fast Colossus here, which is going to be nice against the heavy bio production here of Maru, who's foregoing factory units altogether, just using the factory to get the Starport add-on. And it is going to be Colossus here from SOS, no surprises. But when you go into a heavy Marauder count, the Stalkers and the Colossi are very weak against a good number of Marauders.
True.
So be very careful here.
I guess while we have the time here, we have to kind of go back, rewind time beyond before SOS slapped Maru in the face at BlizzCon for the proxy meta, and before even the proxy meta, maybe even going a little bit into the heart of the Swarm, where Maru, or people who played with Maru's strengths, as in like the micro, remember at the time there was carpet bombing of bio units over Colossus-based builds? You remember that period? Maru was particularly good at that, and it did look very strong. It was the option, and then Heart of the Swarm became Legacy of the Void. I don't even think it wasn't actually like nerfed or buffed. It was just we swapped to a new expansion, so we kind of just forgot about that time period. So Maru can be very good against it, to your point, but then bringing it back around to 2018, stats did show how good Colossus can be against this guy before he was just proxying literally every single time. He did try to do what he's doing right now, and stats was able to show how to take care of it. Seems like SOS is thinking along the same lines. Find some time with the Warp Prism too. Nicely done.
Yep. These Widowmines will get rid of these Zealots, or at least get them out of his main base. They stay alive by jumping into that Warp Prism after eating those Widowmine shots, or forcing them out. So that's actually a nice little micro trick there from SOS, keeping the Prism and the Zealots alive. Going to continue to be a bother here. And Maru is concentrating his forces down here into the third base, still leaving some units in the main base because of the Zealot, Zealot threat still being alive.
This is...
That's annoying.
So it's not, like, sometimes it's not even about buying literal time, which it definitely has. Maru pulled back for this. It's also about taking that attention away from the attack. So Maru is also just like, I have to focus 100% on this. And now he chooses to go for a quadruple medevac drop into the main base. And he probably checked around for observers before he did it. There's been no revelation, obviously, with no Stargate. This is one of those open opportunities to do this. And SOS doesn't have anything to defend.
This is the Terran's version of Recalls, having really fast medevacs. They do boost in, though, so he's going to go straight for that mineral line. There's a Colossus here, and it can actually potentially be taken out with the Stim Bio being here in great numbers. He's actually just concentrating on getting rid of whatever probes he can. He's actually not controlling this Bioforce for now. Looks like he was looking over to that third base position, where he's attacking in two places at once. This Nexus is going to die. He actually can't stop this. Oh, it's getting so low.
He's using the shield battery. You do have to micro that shield battery on top of it, but it does not help out enough. The Bio just barely able to take that out. I'm not sure why SOS started to move forward. I guess he figured he'd clean this up, which he eventually does. Barely saving, just kidding. Losing that Colossus, but I guess he thought he'd save this, he'd deal with this, and then he'd immediately attack a Terran who doesn't have a lot of units, but then had to pull back. Unfortunately, Maru had a little bit more to show with that third base being sniped. And now he has that time as he scans where the army is to, well, continue with this drop, I suppose, but also so he can, take a bit of a chill pill. He knows he won't be immediately countered, and he can start building up to some way to deal with the Colossus count, which he doesn't actually have, besides your point about the Marauders in a concave. There we go. Vikings are now on the way.
Yeah, Vikings are a bit more of a solid way to deal with Colossi. Liberators is another way as well. He's going into Armory now to get to 2-2 upgrades. But the big thing here for Maru is that he's managed to actually take the worker lead here and actually have a pretty decent economy against Protosses, which generally have a base more and maybe 10 more workers than the Terran if everything's like, all things considered, they're where they want to be. But he's loading up again for a big drop, and this is a little dangerous. He might actually have to drop them back at home if he wants to hold on, because this is a lot of Protoss here. SOS's attack is looking quite scary.
He had no idea the army was making its way across the map, but SOS knew everything. He was able to decide to commit to this with full information just about, and now Maru is the one forced to go into a pretty desperate base race. He doesn't have any Liberators already on the way to help hold his production.
I don't like this Maru.
I don't either. His Vikings are not in high enough number to really help out, and it's not even really about the Colossus with only one here, so I guess This one's defending at home. This is a lot of bio, but it's got to go through chokes, ramps. You know, it's Widowmine to backfire on it. I don't know about Maru.
And SOS also, once he's felt like he's done enough damage and the Terran's main can recall here, looks like the natural is not going to get saved, so it is going to get taken out. Maru cannot break this main base, surely not. Like, his bio is so damaged here. He's got medevacs to be able to, you know, heal them up and that sort of thing, but it's the unit count just isn't where it needs to be. And SOS is not slowing down in that main base of Maru. And have a look at the production right now. Maru cannot produce anything. He's supply blocked. He's losing the supply back at home. SOS, however, can continue warping in defense as well as continue stomping through in the main production of Maru.
Yeah. Oh, no. These medevacs are already so low. That is indeed it.
Well, SOS starting off the series 1-0 here against Maru, and this is the last series of the day, right?
Yes, it is. Last series
wow,
of the
that went by a lot quicker than I thought it would. But
yeah.
we have, yeah, this is our final qualification round here with SOS starting on one map up. Oh, boys, good times.
Yeah, that was a solid macro game. I mean, I don't know. I feel like what we saw from Maru, you know, I almost want to be heavily critical of it because it failed so hard at the end. It really did look like everything was so in SOS's control, but that's not really the full story. What Maru did is something that Terran players have tried doing before. It can be very effective. It is literally the difference of catching the army already, you know, only slightly out of position as opposed to initiating that base race where suddenly you do buy enough time to get 16 Vikings and you look like the master controller of the army. But it felt like SOS just knew everything he was going to do past that 4 medevac drop, which ended up not even being that impressive. You'd think a third base snipe would look really good. Still had the army to deal with. And I guess that was the crux of a PVT a while ago, was like, oh, you killed on my Nexus, but what about the army? It's like 2016, 15 all over again.
That's something that I used to always liken. Like the analogy to me was like sticking, like, you know, Winnie the Pooh when he sticks his hand into the beehive to try and get the honey.
Yes.
And then you get the bees. That's what happens. You get in there, you get the honey, you're like, yeah, man, that was great. And then the bees come, and you're like, oh no. Speaking of oh no's, Maru is going straight 2018 here.
Uh-oh. We saw this. Oh my god, did we see it? Did we see it yesterday? Okay, well, you know what? Think about what do the intros. In the bottom right, going for the proxy. It is the Red Terran, Maru.
And the top left, currently up in the series, this is his teammate, Junior Groomwings' SOS.
So I don't think it was earlier today that we saw this, but there was a case of, I believe it was yesterday, so it was Korean Terran, it's Korean Protoss, where the Terran macroed, lost, then the next game proxied, and the Protoss is like, I wonder what you're going to do after you lose a macro game, and then they totally slapped down the Terran. I think it was Hero versus TY, actually. In fact, that's exactly what it was. Oh, yeah, flashbacks. Yeah, so that's exactly what's happening. Oh my god.
And it's scouted immediately because of course it is, because again, like, if you guys didn't watch BlizzCon and you missed it, Maru tried to proxy against SOS 3 games in a row, and 3 games in a row, SOS made Maru not only look bad, but make him look foolish for trying it. And again, I gotta feel like it's pretty foolish to try and proxy SOS. He's so good against it. But Maru is going to try it regardless. He has been scouted. SOS knows what's up, so he's going to get Cybercore before Nexus, and that's one of the great first steps here for Protoss to be able to defend against this, is you got to get that faster Stalker up, get up into, you know, whatever kind of units you want to try and hold on here, like, you know, Twilight Council, you want to go to Robo, but the main thing is you're going to have shield batteries, and you're going to be defensive. You're going to hold things close to your chest and take very little damage.
Now, the way that Hero dealt with this was that he legitimately just, like, he planned on going for a 1-base Stargate. So it wasn't even like a reaction. It was like, oh, okay, I know what you're going to do. SOS didn't do that. It seemed like he was planning on 1-base, gateway expanding to a Nexus. So it won't be an immediate slapdown like we saw there. And it could also be, it's a different build actually than what TY did as well. But he could, because it's not such a severe reaction, he could maybe under-defend as a potential, but I'm just throwing it out there because it can happen. I don't think it will. I think you're right about your points. Like, it just feels like SOS is going to have a good enough idea of what's going on. And his pro is literally still in the main base scouting. Hey, that factory's at home. Hey, there's not a starport. Hey, you have guys off of gas. So you're probably expanding. Like, it's SOS with the full amount of information and not giving away from his build too much.
Yeah, certainly. I like that at least Maru is getting a factory back at home. You know, proxy factories just aren't really a thing anymore, I feel, in this matchup, because it's just, you know, getting reactive Cyclones out is tough. That you can put a tech lab on them and try and proxy a Protoss with new Cyclone, I guess, but without mag field and without the Protoss completely hamming it up, like, still a relatively simple hold. For someone of SOS's caliber, of course. I'm not talking about your regular ladder Protoss, regular ladder Terran. Robo's going to come up now, and we see the Cyclones coming out for Maru, but they look to be defensive at the moment just to hold on to that natural. You could potentially send them across the map, of course, but as the shield batteries and whatnot get up for SOS, it's a little bit tough for Maru to break on through. And he is going to send that Cyclone and this Reaper across the map, but there is going to be at least one shield battery done here for SOS. It's a little bit... I don't see it doing tons of damage.
Yeah, against the Stalkers, it feels so weird. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was the old Cyclone that I'm still kind of hung up on it or something, but to see two Stalkers and be like, oh, I can't actually take that on. You can if they're really far away and you get lock-ons and whatnot, but you run into them and you're going to lose your Cyclone. So that's what happens there, and it's so weak even that the Adept could try shooting at it a couple times, but it rather would go for the SCV.
Yeah, I mean, SCV kill goes down. Gets rid of that last Reaper there. So Maru is going into Banshee here off the back of Cyclones back at home, and this is super, super normal for a Terran to do as a follow-up. Banshee's very, very good at harassing, can also be quite nice at holding as well if you don't bring an Observer with his army. And whoa, that's an even faster Robotics Bay here for SOS before the third Nexus.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so he's going to put on a little bit of pressure with the Warp Prism Stalker combination, not off of like a ton of gateways, really a very standard amounts. And he knows there's going to be a bunker, he even sees that there's going to be a tank, so it's not about doing a lot of direct damage, but it is certainly about bothering the Terran. Maybe best case scenario you get a cancel on like Stim, which would be amazing, but I don't think will happen. And behind it, you go into a Robotics Bay for probably Colossus. He bothers warping in Zealots, and these aren't charged.
This is madness.
Yeah, but it might just work out. Like, seriously, Maru does not have many units. It's the problem.
No, it's madness, but it makes sense. It's just something you don't usually see is slow Zealots being warped in, but they are a great front line here for these Stalkers, and with the Prism here, that's basically like having Blink here for the Protoss. You can just pull those Stalkers out of harm's way. One of them gets taken down from that Siege Tank, though. The other one nearly falls to the bench, gets out of there. So he does take a bit of a trade, and I'd say that Maru is on the better end of it so far, considering the amount of resources that SOS has put into this. The Prism is still alive, and the Stalkers are still in here.
So things get a little bit awkward. I see Maru going for that combat shield, and I'm thinking about the game. Okay, they're actually really going to battle it out micro-wise, aren't they? The Marine tries to get... The other Marine tries to get the Warp Prism. Not going to happen, and does Maru just lose here, actually? I think he...
He might. I mean, these 5 Stalkers in the main base is really rough. This Prism's really low, so maybe he can get that with the next round of Marines. The Banshee's dead, though. That's bad news, Bears, here for Maru. Sorry to keep talking about Bears and Honey, but again, this is happening right now in this game. The Banshee's coming home from across the map, and she's not gotten a heap done. She's got a 5-kill Banshee here, so she's got some probes, but SOS still with a lot more probes, but that came from currently up 9 workers on 2 bases here, and this Colossi are on the way. Maru's really been hit hard here as far as production goes.
At least the Banshee did something, and did it scouts that there is a Robotics Bay? It did, so there's something there. 5 probes plus, I guess he did force the Warpin to take care of that too, so that could have snowballed, maybe even worse. But I was gonna say this before more damage was done, so I'll just continue with it. Maru lost some very like long in the making army units, right? Banshees and tanks are exactly something that you're reactoring out. You literally can't reactor them. And with the combat shields going down first, I was thinking about the innovation game where he was going to do a follow-up tank push based off that kind of failed proxy of his own. On this map, was it? Well, it doesn't matter.
Actually it was, I think.
Okay, there you go. So I was like, well, if he was going to do that push, it's just like right out the window now, right? Because he lost his most important units for it. I don't know if he wanted to get a Raven, but now he can't because he's trying to like get Banshee damage done, which isn't quite working.
Yeah, SOS is all over them like white on rice. He's got these observers and stalkers in position here. Even the Colossus coming for a walk as well, just to have a look and see what's happening. So combat shield is done, no stim.
Yeah, that's...
that's... I mean, Maru is still looking like he wants to go for this 2-base attack, but he's going to be up against several Colossi here, ZombieGrub. This is going to be very one-sided if he commits to this.
I feel like it's going to be a disaster, but he's
hoping
hoping
no
that
Raven either.
The
so he can't lock down the Colossi.
Yeah, that would have been a little helpful. But he's thinking of the combination of the Banshee high DPS, and they do shoot. I mean, if they're not dying, they're dealing a lot of damage. And the tank focus fire might be able to take care of the Colossus, so it is up to SOS to accommodate
Maybe.
for that thought process. But I feel like if Maru had started Stim right after combat shields, he would have at least had Stim with this too. I mean, that's the most important thing. I don't know. This feels like something he had to work with based off a very bad scenario.
SOS isn't going to wait for him to come to the shield battery. He's just trying to meet him in the middle of the map here. He does have to be careful. That Banshee count is quite deadly. They are pretty flimsy units to the Stalkers with the Observer being here. SOS maybe overextended a little bit there. You got a bunch of the Marines killed, some of the SCVs as well, but this is super all-in from Maru. If this doesn't end the game, then SOS is going to be 2-0 up, and he's just going to have to slowly but surely pull back. He's getting a third Nexus up at the same time as well. His third Nexus is going to get up, but it is going to be all about holding in that natural, as Maru is going for the kill here. He's not going for the third.
Yeah. I feel like SOS is playing a little dangerous with that Observer. He does put it in surveillance mode, but a little bit on the front. I mean, I think it'd be worth for Maru to scan that.
I think so as well, if he sees it. Yeah, these tanks are leapfrogging here. Good micro from Maru on these tanks, and he's trying to get the bunkers up. The Colossi, there's 3 of them now. Extended Thermal Lance has been done for a while, and he is starting to gun through this Marine count. The tanks are doing insane damage here to the army of SOS, though. Oh my god, these tanks demolish the Stalkers and the Colossi here. SOS might be biting off a little bit more than he could chew here. He doesn't have charge done either.
Yeah, I never even tried starting it. I mean, I'm with him, though. Like, I would have figured the Colossus melt through the Marines like butter, and then the Stalkers are plentiful enough a number to take care of everything else. But no, the tanks are all alive. Most of the Banshees are. Does Maru win with this? It's starting to look that way.
It seemed like he shouldn't, but for some reason, like the decision-making of SOS here, maybe when he decided to engage, getting a little bit bold there in the middle of the map, and engaging, maybe overextending or overestimating his army here against Maru, he is losing ground here to these tanks, which are very low. Oh, this Prism is nice, though, trying to get on top of those tanks, but he gets gunned down immediately by those Marines.
Yeah.
And he actually had more units to unload there. He's lost his natural. SOS is bleeding so fast here against Maru.
He can't deal with the Banshees anymore. The Stalkers are all dying too fast, and while he's still technically on 2 Nexus and up in workers as he takes care of the last 2 tanks, I think the Banshees might just snowball. 4 are left over. He's continuing to build them. Oh my good god.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I was seeing some Stalkers come in from the main base, and the Banshees were starting to die. And I thought, oh, maybe, you know, but Maru, that was actually such a close win. It looked really one-sided, but it was very, very close there for Maru. And I cannot believe how well that went for him. It didn't look like it was going to go well on paper, but hey, to TIL.
Yeah. I feel like I'm relearning a lot of things about TVP as we see, you know, these are, at least from my eyes, kind of new ways to take advantage of the mid-game, of these weird tank pushes, because Innovation showed us one earlier today. I think the one that Maru was intending to go for, and I truly believe that Maru just adapted to the situation by continuing to pump out tanks and just waiting a little while longer. So it's this kind of new, crazy, good push that with a lot of Banshees, or maybe with a Raven, or maybe just with more Marines, faster timing, it's looking pretty good. And I think the Protosses are in that stage where they're like, oh, this thing is good. Oh, this is actually hard to deal with. I need to figure this out. And I think by the time the actual tournament, you know, Katowice main comes along, Protoss will have figured it out, but I don't want to pretend I have a crystal ball in front of me and can tell the future. I don't want to look too much into just 2 games of 2 different TVPers, but it all goes back to reevaluating, man. I really thought SOS was going to have that one, and Maru just made those Banshees look so good.
He certainly did. I mean, that kind of push generally involves Ravens, and it was interesting to see Maru prioritize Banshees over that, and I mean, he was right in the end there. That DPS was really insane. Oh boy, he's going to do it again. Well, he's going to do some form of proxy anyway. In the bottom right here from Jin Air Green Wings, this is Maru.
And top left, as the blue Protoss, it is SOS.
$sign.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, guys, that while this qualifier is really, really nice for both these players, both of them are on Jin Air Green Wings. And if you're a fan of SOS or Maru and neither of them make it through, I very much doubt you should be too concerned, because they are going to very likely be sent over by Jin Air Green Wings to Poland, playing the round of 76. And are there going to be 75 other players out there that can stop Maru or SOS from getting to the round of 24? I don't think so. I think they'll still make it.
I think so as well. Jin Air is going to expect a lot of money for their players at that tournament. Ah, man. Still kind of getting over that last game. I mean, at the end, you know, we can so well analyze it after everything is said and done. Like, obviously, SOS was too greedy and undervalued it, but I was with them the entire time. I was like, oh, this Colossus. Is Maru going to be planning for the same thing again, all the way down the line?
Yeah. I would have done what SOS did as well. I'd been like, whatever, nerd, and then sent my Colossi Stalker army with Zealots and Sentries into the middle of the map and just eliminated his army and thought that it would just be an easy hold without shield batteries or pylons or defensive war pins at all. And this one's going to be a lot more of a dedicated proxy for Maru. He's bringing that factory over here as well. So this means that the barracks is very likely going to be making a tech lab here to switch on over to get those cyclones up.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the dangerous unit in the early stages. SOS. Looks like you might want to be getting a Stargate down here. This game's going to get weird.
It is. He did not probe scout. It's not like the probe scout or a second probe sent out, so he doesn't realize that Maru is proxying. He could be guessing, very educated guess there, and hoping this works out. But it is a bit of a... Well, it seems so dangerous. Like, oh my god, there's so many possibilities, right? And it's literally seconds of difference. So the possibilities, the Oracle could zap all the SCVs dead. Maru gives up, or it could zap half the SCVs, try and desperately come back home to defend against a Cyclone Rush, and is unable to do so in quick enough time, right? So it's like, which one happens? And even if Maru loses all of his SCVs, do Cyclones win out eventually? Stay tuned to find out, basically.
That's right. Last time on Maru versus SOS.
Yeah. Ooh, this is nice. Let's see
Hey,
exactly
right.
what sort of proxy it is.
Yeah. Well, that's going to probably cause him to send those Stargate units home.
It's the gamble. It's the gamble. He's still rallying it to the main base of Maru.
Yeah, that's true. It's a gamble. All right. Good luck, SOS. He's going to try and just hold on to the main ramp here. Not going to... I mean, he could potentially hold on to this natural, but it would be a little bit tough. Magfield is almost done for these Cyclones, getting an extra 400 damage on that lock-on. Bunker as well going up here for Maru.
He's only working off of one pylon for the shield battery. The Oracle is popping out. It's going towards the main. Maru has nothing to defend against it. He shouldn't, anyways. And yeah. But the Oracle no longer two-shots workers. Hasn't for like years at this point. So it's possible that if you play the runaround game, you save, maybe even more than half your SCVs. So that's what Maru's going to do.
This barracks is so nice for Maru as well, being used for high ground vision and an incredibly high hit point high ground vision scout here for him. It's very tough for SOS to take it out. The pylon is actually trying to be kept alive here with the shield battery, and it's doing all right so far. That Magfield accelerator is just making so much extra damage here on this lock-on. Sentry gets tacked onto, and the barracks is trying to keep that lock-on alive, and he does get that Sentry, which is massive. No more force fields on this ramp. And Maru is knocking on that front door saying, hello! Deal with me. And let me in.
That second shield battery is not helping so much. It's like a little too far away. It's the option of like safety over, I guess, usefulness, and maybe it'll help eventually. The Oracle continuing to do damage with the same one?
Yeah,
oh no, it's the second one.
This Oracle's coming back over the other side of the map, and I mean, SOS got a ton of damage done to the worker count here of Maru, but it's kind of hard to say who's ahead at this point because both players are on one base. I guess SOS has an extra 8 workers. Maru's got a very annoying army to deal with. Yeah.
Huh. You don't usually see them both say, okay, I did enough and leave, so SOS is going to make another Oracle. A Viking will shoo it away, but 2 will actually kill it, and I'm not sure he realized there's going to be 2. This might be a mistake, because he still has 1 Oracle alive. Oh, well, yeah, he's not even going to be able to make it, so never mind. Alrighty then, and, you know, Maru has to send most of his production back home quite a ways after losing at least a few workers. Let's make that 16 workers.
He's down 10 workers now, or 9 now.
Yeah.
That's a feels bad situation there for Maru. Obviously, you know, with this mineral bank being so low and his mining being so low, getting a natural is going to take quite a while. Whereas for SOS, as soon as his gateway count gets a little bit higher, he can really muscle through this attack of Maru. Maru doesn't really have the ability to continue getting his economy up as well as keep the pressure on this one base of SOS. Like eventually, it's going to have to fold one way or another.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a hard call, but I'm thinking it's better for our Protoss, who is going to be able to break out of the bunker. The Cyclones had left, realizing they probably weren't going to last long anyways. They do manage to grab at least one stalker for the bunker. Revenge, but Blink's on the way. That'll help against the Cyclones. If that's all that Maru was depending on, if you got a tank, that also could be something that you could Blink upon if you think you really have enough numbers. And SOS is continuing to just warp in. The same thing's going to get a scout. Reconfirm what Maru's plan is. Is he trying to expand? Is he trying to follow up with a one base, all in? I think he's expanding. He's got this SCV over here.
High ground CC. Well, I mean, I'd definitely say that Maru's playing from behind in that case. You know, you can get his natural up a little bit quicker. This Phoenix rather comes on in and sees that Maru is still on one base with the Cyclones and the bunker up there on the high ground. I don't know if you got to see the CC on the high ground he made, but you know, SOS is looking like he wants to take his natural in a second here. There it is.
So he didn't see the CC. He did see the cloak researching, which I mean, big surprise, but it's good. So that CC's. I mean, I feel like that was actually a pretty... It would have been far nicer to scout, but he's not overreacting. He is getting his own Nexus, and the game is continuing on, but I can't believe Maru's ever going to be in a truly comfortable position. He's going to be constrained unless these Banshees really do a good job sniping probes, keeping SOS back at home.
Yeah. Banshees they used to be a complete meme in TVP, but they've just been so powerful in the last year and a bit, especially when they... catch the Protoss with the pants down. It's been happening a few times in the last few pro TVPs been seeing. I like the charge immediately here by SOS. Last game, I think not having charge definitely hurt him a ton. And it's very, very nice also just against Cyclones in general, charge lots. So if that is something that Maru's going for, he won't really be a problem. Also, charge lots is just amazing against most Terran things that are on the ground. You know, siege tanks, Spire.
Yeah, they're pretty solid.
Good choice. It's good. It's not bad.
Banshee almost runs back into the Stalkers. That would have been awkward. Vikings are looking to either... I'm not sure what they're doing. So they caught both the Oracles. There was a gap of time where there wasn't a detection, but now observers are out. I mean, they could go in and harass the probe line by landing if the Banshees draw everything else to the natural and vice versa. They could try and snipe the observer, but they are just sticking around where I guess also a Warp Prism could come out. I'm guessing, but maybe they wouldn't be helping at home, I suppose.
Certainly not. Another Phoenix scout here with a hallucinating Phoenix. This one gets a lot more information there. SOS sees absolutely everything. Sees the tank count as well as the natural. This is very, very good information there for SOS. He's getting a Warp Prism and he's getting charged, so it looks like SOS wants to get aggressive on two bases. Okay.
All right. Don't mind that choice whatsoever. This is going to be a hard attack to hold, especially if the Banshees are used offensively and they lose their lives because of it. If they're home with some decent cloak energy, especially if the observer gets sniped, then I think Maru can definitely hold. But already losing one of those Banshees to aggressively placed Stalkers, 3 tanks now protected by any SimCity, no bunker to draw the fire away, an auto turret could for a couple of seconds, I guess. And,
yeah, the Raven's a little bit rough here. I mean, the Raven can get rid of the observer or help him get rid of the observer, which is nice. Maybe an armor seeker missile on the Zealots, maybe defensive auto turrets.
No!
Oh, he's on sieging! What? No! That's not the thing! Oh my god!
No,
was that a misclick?
No, I think he was ready to push. He didn't realize what his army's going to look like. Weirdly enough, the overzealous SOS kind of gets slapped back. Good tank shots and a bunch of clumped up Stalkers there, and now he's alerted to the all-in. He is building a nice little wall. And this isn't like an 8 gateway all in, so maybe this is still holdable, but what a time to unsiege, man.
This is a nice SimCity here with this engineering bay and supply depot. He gets in range of that tank and takes it out. The Banshee's coming in from the main base. Fire is up on the high ground helping out with the Zealot count here. The gateway units are doing all right at picking off these air units, though. The Vikings have gone down. The last observer gets picked off, and now this Banshee is not being able to be counted. And Maru holds on.
I can't believe that this all happened right there. I don't know if he F2'd the Vikings back or intentionally got them back, but they sniped the Warp Prism with their last breath, sniped the Observer as well. Like, gosh, can't believe it. And the wall, everything came together at the last second. What an atrocious start to a hold turns into certainly a hold. But let's not forget that even if SOS had not done that attack, I mean, he was getting to a third base. He was able to put his chrono into probes. He's still up 13 workers, and Maru is still missing some very important upgrades. Like Stim, not anywhere close to being done. Combat shields, gonna be after that. That's a long time to wait.
Maru's losing a lot of minerals, cancelling and restarting this supply depot in bunker wall as well. And SOS still, I would say, wearing the daddy pants in this game. He's on a 3rd base, much higher work count. He's got Storm and High Templar on the way, and he's contained the Terran pretty nicely here. Maru scans and sees, he's like, oh, no. when you're a Terran in Maru's situation, and you scan like that, it's exactly how it feels. Like, not a great spot for him.
That's exactly how it feels. He's little... He thought maybe the Observer was severely out of place, but not too far off. Loses a Banshee for it, but severely weakens a lot of stalkers. Not too bad of a trade if it was better circumstances behind that, macro-wise. Yeah, what do you do? Oh, okay.
Oh, Prism, nice.
Yeah,
the Prism's good. It's good.
One less thing to worry about.
One less thing of a list of many, many things to worry about here. Obviously, High Templar are out. Storm is about to finish up. The High Templar now have enough juice to also bring some bad weather upon the head of the Terran. 3rd CC got made in the main base and is being floated on down. That's actually a very vulnerable spot to put your Templar Archives as well, by the way. I mean, I don't know if Maru's ever going to be in that natural base of SOS, but if he is and he gets that, that's a little bit dicey. I'm also one of those Terrans that's very conservative. I don't like getting my engineering bases in the front of my wall either. So just don't like losing important structures.
Yeah.
But, yeah, whatever.
Sim is done. Combat Shield is not, and neither are the upgrades. If he gets Combat Shields and 1-1 and somehow survives all these charge lot attacks with Storm, well, I commend him. And then maybe he's got a shot, but...
He truly is the greatest Terran in the world.
Yeah, until then, he has to deal with lots of charge lots and lots of Storms, and he has no Marauders quite yet. Try and pick those off. I guess you could try and, imagine interference matrixing High Templars where they feedback you, but...
feedback immediately on the Raven. That's wonderful there. Getting rid of the Raven's a great start, and Maru's like, oh no, I'm just dead. GG. And SOS gets match point here. We still have another game to play, at least, potentially 2. I hope for 2. I'd love a match point here.
It would be cool, but I'm really afraid we're at that point where, and I'm not even going to bring up like the whole Maru at BlizzCon thing, just like Terran in general that aren't innovation apparently. The whole, well, I guess I'm screwed. Mentality of like, maybe they're not literally saying I guess I'm screwed, but they're like, well, it's the thing that's probably going to work the best. So they do that again, and SOS just proves that he really has learned it, and that one game number 2 was just a fluke. Yeah.
Huh. Well, I'm actually going to have a look at Innovation's run here. Like, how much did he destroy this qualifier? So, he starts off with a 2-0 over Hats, 2-0 over Has, 2-0 over Maru, 3-0 over SOS. So he's a flawless victory from Innovation in this qualifier. That is, I felt like he did well, but I forgot that he didn't lose a single goddamn map. Oh, man.
Good stuff, man.
Not bad. Innovation also streams a lot, by the way, guys. If you're a Terran fan out there or you want to be a Innovation fan, then check him out. It's a good stream.
You weren't in that game. I saved your life, Maynard.
I was what?
You weren't in that game.
Oh, so I'm sorry. I was looking at my other screen looking at the bracket and stuff. My bad.
Saved your life. They're about to go.
Well, that's cool, because I would have just rolled with it, and hopefully no one will be able to tell I couldn't see the game. With 3-minute delay.
Yeah, totally. Anyways, sorry. I'm glad I checked.
Thank you.
Yeah, Innovation's pretty good at this game. That's what we're talking about.
That was what I was trying to glean from that research in my second monitor. Yeah. That he is pretty good at this game. Turns out.
He really truly is. I just don't know, like, the things that I saw him do, and even game number 2 of this series, I'm like, well, I don't know how I copy that. Like.
Well, that's the thing. Like these builds look really cool and really easy, but then you're like, oh wait, I need to have mechanics to make this work.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Oh, it is that thing where they're just going to continue doing that thing that they've always been doing and hope that it works out. But SOS is already scouting. And I don't know, man. I think he's got a handle on it. Maru just had that one fluke game. That's my guess. But I'm hoping for number 5 at the top right. It's down 1. It is Maru.
Maru. And in the bottom left, currently getting proxied again. This is Judair Greenwing's SOS. Blue shift, more like poo shift. Am I right? Because this is a map where Terrans like to proxy on. A lot of good areas there for those proxies. And Got that probe scout here from SOS, having a little bit of look, a little bit of zappy zap. Nothing serious though. Sees a double gas, sees no barracks at home, and this means that SOS knows, and now Maru knows that he knows. So, prepare.
He is checking the wrong side of the map for the proxy. It is a 50-50. It's actually it's probably more like 75% over here somewhere, because then you can abuse the Reaper Cliff. So
Yep.
Maru is putting it into the like intentionally less obvious spot. So the Reaper's not going to have as many opportunities to hop up, but still it could get some damage done. It's not going to be stalled out. Obviously, the probe can't find it and kill the SCV. And hopefully it also, for Maru's sake, won't find that it's not a factory, right? That it's not like I guess the second game where he actually won. Factory is back at home, and you know what? SOS is the type of guy that leaves his probe here, so he sees that.
Oh my god. There's a certain captain that Pig calls the first worker or a probe. Oh no, his version is he sends a couple workers for this harassment.
He does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
Probe, a single probe is annoying, man. Much less two.
The first probe of every Protoss is actually the worst probe, for sure. Oh, this Reaper is getting a little bit of damage done. That Zealot came out first. SOS, correctly identified as a proxy, so you get the Zealot out first, tank a bit of that Reaper hit. Force your Terran to keep an eye on that Reaper and micro it around before that Adept comes out. Gets a probe kill, but just the one so far, so not the most effective proxy. And that is so smart from SOS. So good. No attack lab means no Cyclone.
Yeah, that's so it opens up opportunities for a counter is what I would be most afraid of as the Terran player, but Maru still has this Reaper alive and scouting that it's not really what's gonna happen. There's no extra gateways, there's not a robo. There is a Stargate though, so not so much like a front attack as it is a lot of potential harassment, but a Wood of Mine takes care of an Oracle as well, right? So it's, yeah, still not worried. Oh, what the? Oh, well, that supply block coming up with the Chrono. Everyone feel like SOS for a second there. We all do that. He did it too.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, I mean, Maru just, the power of Terrans, you can lift your structures and put them somewhere else, and he just gets the Tech Lab a little bit further back. But the main thing that this pylon did is it slowed down his Cyclone production. So SOS can do things like deny this low ground expansion for a little bit, kill the SCV on it, and try and take a little bit more of an edge that way. This isn't game ending, but it's something that can snowball later on. This Cyclone is important to defend against not only the gateway units of the Protoss, but also the... I mean, he's making an Oracle right now, and they're pretty good against those too.
Yeah, it's the overall good unit for the defense. So the Wood of Mine only killed the probe, not the Adept, the Oracle I was hoping. But the Cyclone has popped out to help one area or the other. That's the trick, I suppose. Now is he could have to gamble, but the Adepts ran away. There it is. I was like, where the hell did it go? And the Oracle didn't even try to swoop in. It's still maneuvering around. I am actually not sure what it's doing. It's thinking. It's anticipating
thinking.
Offensive Cyclone, maybe?
Yeah. I've never seen an Oracle think so hard about where it's going.
The second Oracle is seen, or well, I guess it's going to look at the first one. It's hard to say from Maru, his point of view. But he did see that there was another Oracle being produced. So does he think there's two, or does he think there's three? That's the question.
Yeah.
There's four.
Well,
oh my
engineering
God,
base going down here. This is getting memey. It's getting memey.
Yeah. If Maru tries to go for any upgrades, he's going to get those sniped. Even if he goes for a missile turret, that could technically be broken by 4 Oracles. Yeah. I mean, it's memey.
He does have a handful of Vikings up. He's got a couple Vikings up, which is nice for something like this.
Yeah, 2 Vikings, 2 Cyclones would rip the 4 Oracle attack apart. 5. Okay, well, like, when are you going to stop?
Please stop. I mean, whatever. SOS is going to go for a big Oracle dive here and go, ha, gotcha, with these Oracles. But I mean, as Maru is getting up stim and these turrets and that sort of thing, like, yes, Oracles can kill, Cyclones on their own when they're this high in count. They can kill turrets on their own when they're this high in the number. But when they're all together, not so much. So that's sort of the big question mark in my brain is, is Maru going to be at home and ready for this? You might see this pylon.
There's
a good scout.
No, Proby did not reveal that it put down a pylon. Or did
Vikings
it?
Going to see it. Oh, it just turns out the red vision. Oh my god.
Oh no. SOS is doing something really cool, by the way. Like, the Oracles have all been, most of them are secret, all of them on his side of the map. But this one's been like the only one maneuvering around in case there was a Marine or a Widowmine or something like that. So Maru does not know how many oracles.
Oh,
Again, he
no.
could have only thought there was 2, for instance. The Vikings do catch wind. Now he knows.
Vikings, please fire. Please fire. Please fire. Oh my god. Now the Vikings are tagged and he can just avoid them forever.
Yeah, and he still doesn't know about the pylon. Oh, don't go forward, Maru. Don't go forward.
Womp womp.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, the Oracle's going to main base. The Vikings need to choose. Do we go in here in the natural? I mean, they're not too useful against those Stalkers. There's that turret getting gunned down here, and so many SCVs are dying here to these laser beams. The Vikings and the Bio come up to the main base. Meanwhile, the natural could potentially be poked by SOS's ground forces, which are kind of idling at the moment here, concentrating on keeping those Oracles alive. And I guess he's too afraid of the bunker and the tank, and I don't blame him. He gets a lot of workers, though. He's up 11 now back at home on the other side of the map with a third base.
I want to say this isn't that bad, though. For what we were, I mean, what I was imagining, this isn't that bad. You might even get an Oracle here. No. Nope. Just kidding. But still.
Unless there's It'd be cool if the missiles also got recalled. So
yeah, right.
they can connect with the Oracle when it gets on the other side. But there you go.
Ugh. I mean, 15
Nice recall
SCVs ain't great. Yeah, it was. 15 SCVs ain't great, but it could have been so much worse. It also could have been the army. If Maru splits wrong against that, too, and doesn't have missile turrets to even buy time, like, that's just the army gone as well. So now he has this army supply lead at the very least, and he is going straight to that third base where he will have to do economic damage. He's got +1 on his side. Oh, but a stasis
Lord
trap.
shut down
though.
2 cyclones.
Oh, it still burrows even with stasis? Okay.
Wow.
That's weird.
Cool.
Yeah, okay, now I know.
So Maru once again going for a nice big attack. He is getting a third CC behind this. So not all in, but it does need to do well. And here come the Oracles. I was wondering where they were.
They use themselves as Phoenix almost, trying to get the splash on the Marines especially. Now, all the Oracles die. 2 Vikings come in, and on the ground, they ain't so bad.
Especially against Stalkers.
It's a force that can be used, because it's not charge lots, but charge is finishing. Widowmines are here.
Nice borrow 1 borrow micro here from Maru as well, keeping the charge on these Widowmines available. One's going to fire and hits the Zealots. Pre-split there, or it's a last second split there from SOS to try and keep the Zealots alive, but the third base is starting to get touched on by this bio here.
Oh.
The Vikings are getting low. Maru's still reinforcing this position. Is he going to break through SOS here?
Yes, he is. Absolutely. Making it look easy with the last round of units, too. I mean, he had the army supply lead, and I guess SOS... I mean, what were his options, really? GG. Maru takes the game a lot because he got some of that early notice on those Oracles. Just... I'm still going with that. Because, like, okay, so Maru, like, cool stuff towards the end. He actually takes it, but SOS did not have a lot of options, and I guess I should have really thought about that harder at the time. But I wanted to bring it up, but the Oracles are doing stuff, or about to do stuff. Like, when you go for more than 1 Oracle, when you go for Oracles, guys, like, you're paying a lot to go for Oracles. It's 150, 100, right? That is literally your tech structures for Protoss, most of them, right? And any upgrades are pushed off. It's so much gas you're putting into that. So his charge was late, but even with charge, he didn't have a lot of units, and he had no backbone units. Like, he had 2 sentries for force fields and a guardian shield, I suppose. But he had no immortal. He had no, he wasn't even anywhere close to storm, I don't believe. You do sacrifice a lot to go for so many oracles, and when they don't work, you should be slapped back for that, right? Right?
Oh, absolutely. It's an expensive army. And it only shoots down, and it's quite flimsy. So, it looked like it was going to be all right for SOS that game, but Maru came back, and as a result, we got ourselves an ace match. Hell yeah! Game 5 between Maru and SOS, just like we always wanted. Christmas came so early that it's actually already done.
What? Christmas came so early, it's already done. Oh, because it was a week.
Because it finished like 2 weeks ago.
I'm with you. I gotcha.
There we go. We did it.
We did a full circle thing there.
Yep.
All right. Well, I am excited. It's game number 5. I don't know if it's quite Christmas, but between these two, it's getting close. They're so wacky. There's really hard games to call. I'm so happy we're going to see this at the beginning of the year so that we can look much smarter on the bigger stage later in the year. Yeah. It's game number 5, the final game of the day of the cast of the NA server qualifiers of the series, so on and so forth. The bottom right has the red Terran. It is Maru.
And the top left, his teammate, Generic Green Wings is SOS. Just one probe in that gas for now. Looking to fast expand again. Okie dokie.
Well, Maru has some, I mean, it's like average success with the proxies. In this game, he's not going to. I guess the 2 games he won, he did proxy, though. Just throwing it out there. The first game was a very fast triple CC, which, I mean, it didn't put him in a bad position, maybe. I don't know. I think a lot of Terrans would argue with me, but, like, it was the weirdness of having the base race and not kind of sticking to a standard, like, up to Viking type deal that did him in. It feels like so long ago, and it was such a different game compared to the last 3 that we've had.
Yeah. I'm glad that this is looking like it's a quote-unquote regular game for our final game between these 2 players. It'd be interesting to see if Maru can, do a little bit better than he did in Game 1 on Cerulean Fall. Hopefully he's, if he is going to go for that bio style, it works out a little bit better for him and it's a little bit closer of a game. SOS kind of bodied him in that game from memory.
Don't quite remember.
He like... Oh, that's right. He went for like a bio attack and then he went for like a 4 mana back drop in the main.
Right.
Killed like a lot there, and then killed the 3rd Nexus with an attack on the right hand side.
Yeah.
And then SOS is just like, I'm gonna come across the mountain with a bunch of laser giraffes and
yes.
Kill you dead.
Exactly. He kind of started the ball rolling with the whole mass drop thing and was in comparison late to the Vikings. And like not that standard solid ramp up to eventually Viking Liberator Ghosts versus High Templar, Colossus, whatever the Protoss. I mean, it's like Parasite's this long map, right? And assuming that no one does significant damage, I see Maru making a Helen, so I'm like including this here in case he went for more. In the early to mid game, this could be a map to go super, super long game. It also could be a map that Maru tries to once again take advantage of his mobility and just hopes that the extra like 10, 15 seconds compared to the game number 1 map, Cerulean Fall, I think, will be able to, get him that Viking count, to get him that bio count. And he might have even thought that one game it was a lot because he didn't scout the army on the way. Like there was no scouting from him besides those medevacs. So like I could certainly see him doing it here to like bookend the series. Very close games, as we so far have at least SOS doing what he does seem to like in a average macro game, which is that blink, even a chrono on it. But he is putting on that proxy
pylon.
Proxy pylon, I think quicker than most other games. Wow, he's really consistent with these hallucinations, isn't he?
Yeah. He certainly is. The oracles, I like it. I think it must work against a few of those Terrans on ladder because he's doing it every game here. This proxy pylon is looking like it kind of looked like he wanted to put a gateway here and maybe put a lot of pressure on with gateway units, but the probe's coming home, so maybe it's just a slow warping pylon. We'll deal with it later. This Hellion's still alive, being very, very annoying. Hellions are pretty decent against probes, not too bad against sentries and that sort of thing, but Stalker does mean it has to get on out of there. Once again, an earlier Raven here for Maru, as well as Siege Tank production, so we're not going to rule out the fact that he might be going for that push again. We'll see if he gets combat shields or stem on that tech lab. It's fast 3rd CC. Actually, with a 3rd CC, it should be just stem. I think you're going to go for a big timing attack when you get in 3rd base. It's a little silly.
We've seen a couple of games, even today, where like the 3rd CC was kind of a fake, which isn't usually what you say for Terrans. It's more like a Protoss thing or a Zerg thing, but it's existed for Terrans as well. Like, I got a 3rd CC, I didn't actually mine it or build SCs from it. But yeah, I think it is just going to go into more... Well, it's building Banshees too again. I'm going to hold off on it. Tank stops any harassment, and it looks like that proxy pylon was just to go ahead and get some slow, but, still make this a little bit scary, as opposed to only having 4 stalkers. Behind its 3rd base, its charge, something that's Maru did see, and he's not being all in right now. He's going to assume that is a real 3rd base, and the game goes on. Double Forge here.
Yep.
Is that the first time we've seen
macro game.
No. Second time.
SOS are going to get to the later stages here. Double Forge usually a sign of that. Charge as well. Straight off the blink. Good boy, SOS. Dotting his I's and crossing his T's, as far as Protoss goes.
Sim, lots of barracks. Next challenge is to get that 3rd CC on location up and running, but it shouldn't be that much of a challenge. It really is just the stalkers roaming around. It's not even a warp prism out. Yeah, to add anything, which he's, SOS has been doing. I'm sure Maru's a little wary of, but not this time, not this game.
Yeah, he's been pretty careful here. 1-1 upgrade's actually relatively timed out evenly for both players. I mean, obviously Protosses have Chrono Boost. And is that a Warp Prism on the way? Yes, it is. Bunch of gateways as well.
I guess I said it a little too early. He is still planning on controlling the game for as long as possible, I guess. I mean, until they get Stim, or they get enough tanks to really slowly siege chop forward, more power to you for staying on their side of the map with the mobile blink stalkers. And the Warp Prism is always useful, whether it's for these stalkers to reinforce, or give the high ground. There's an observer, though. Or just to stay in a corner until he sees the army move out. It's always a good choice. Good use of 200 minerals.
I like this bit of mine on the edge of the main there.
It's seen, though, so I would like it without the observer.
Good old observers.
Womp.
And it's in. So these Stalkers should be able to get a little bit of damage done, maybe pick up an add-on before they get on out of there. There's no stim or any combat shield or anything like that to deny on this add-on, so that's a little bit annoying there for SOS. I'm sure he would have liked to have done something really critical like that. Getting rid of stim or something like, you know, denying stim in this matchup is really huge for Protoss. You get a massive window to be super annoying against Terran. Well, once stim's done, the gateway armies definitely start to trade not as well.
Right.
Ooh, he's moving up to his third base, and that's a lot of gateway units here from SOS.
Yeah, it is. He didn't get his
exposed.
third gases. He's getting a fourth. He's going for like a gasless macro, just a ton of charge lots. Maru is very fortunate he's able to pick up his units and save his Raven because he was certainly caught out of position. Now with this position in the Wood of Mines, I think he has a much better shot at taking care of this, and the Raven is really going to add a lot, so yeah, SOS has got to back away. Almost found Maru in a very weak state.
Yeah, these Widow Mines are very, very important here for Maru. 2-2 starts immediately here for SOS as 1-1 is done for both players as far as upgrades go. These Widow Mines are getting very forward here. Maru's actually chasing down his gateway force with his bio units. Really feels like he wants to get them well off of his territory as that third base gets saturated. The turret's going into the main, takes a lot of turret, or the Warp Prism gets in the main, takes a lot of turret damage. Maru's attention's down here at the moment, and he is getting some Zealots into his main, but it's not that many. Production should be able to deal with that.
Yeah. The Missile Turret was able to take care of the Warp Prism. Just one is always a good feeling when it does that. Maru also took, I think, it looked like it was actually a good trade for him, despite the Force Field being aggressive from SOS. Decent anti-armor missile. Upgrades are currently even. He finds an Observer to help maybe with the Widow Mine positioning. This is looking like a strong push, and he has successfully dealt with any distractions.
And he still has a tank in this push as well as a lot of bio with medevac support. The tank is on the back end, again exposed, but at the moment, Maru's doing a good job at shepherding it and keeping it alive. SCVs are being pulled for this as well. So Maru is going to go for a big dedicated attack here, and he does not have that many workers back at home, so this is looking very, very all in. SOS needs to hold on here. This is his qualifier on the line. He's going to have to go to the round of 76 if he doesn't win this one.
Oh no, that's going to be... Okay, he's last second split, so at least doesn't hit all of his Zealots. Oh no, he needed that too. He's so Zealot-based!
Oh, the Widow Mine's connecting with a lot of these units here. The Stalkers are not high enough to counter deal with his bio anymore, it seems. The charge lots are doing all right on the right-hand side, and they're coming to collapse in from several angles here against Maru's army in the middle. The Raven is still alive, but not enough energy to turn the tide of the battle, but the Raven has already served its purpose. Maru has broken through the first defensive wave here of SOS. He's inside that natural, killing the probes. The Robotics facility is down and unpowered anyway. I think that Maru might just be able to power on through here. He's up 60 army supply. SOS just doesn't have the numbers anymore. And while this series looked really shaky for him, Maru actually comes back and wins it overall with a 3-2 victory.